everyone, I'm Melanie.
And I'm Kent.
And this is Impromptu Adventures. And what are we doing today?
Today, we're going to play a little Magic. I've been playing Magic kind of off and on since the 90s, and a handful of years ago, I taught Melanie how to play, and she fell in love. She cannot get enough Magic. So what we're going to start off with today, especially if you're new to Magic or maybe you've heard about it but have never played, we've bought a couple of the latest card set, Dominaria. We've got pre-constructed decks. So we'll assign a deck at random.
They're Planeswalker decks, and each Planeswalker shows on the front here what they do. And so just to make it fair, we're not going to pick, we're going to roll for it.
So we're going to roll for it, or are you going to rock, paper, scissors for it?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know how to do that.
Oh, it's very simple. Scissors cuts paper, paper covers rock, rock crushes lizard, lizard poisons Spock, Spock smashes scissors, scissors decapitates lizard, lizard eats paper, paper disproves Spock, Spock vaporizes rock, and as it always has, rock crushes scissors.
You know, Angel, we can just roll.
Okay.
So you roll.
Okay.
And evens, odds.
Okay, evens for Chandra, odds for
Timebender.
the Timebender
Teferi.
Teferi. 3.
Evens,
so
odds.
I get Teferi.
You get Teferi. I get Chandra.
I really wanted Chandra.
Do you want to open this up?
It comes out pretty easily. And there's the deck. So this is kind of nice. It's just pre-made. We're playing with the ones that they created.
And it comes with little quick reference. So you kind of get the basic rules, which doesn't really answer a lot of questions that you will have when you start playing. And these sets also come, we're not going to use them today, but in addition to the pre-constructed deck, which has all the land, we'll explain that in a little bit, and the Planeswalker, it also comes with 2 booster packs. These are extra cards so that you can, after you get tired of maybe playing after the first few games with the pre-built cards, you can maybe swap some of the cards that are in the pre-constructed deck with the cards that you get in these kind of randomized packs.
Kent taught me how to play, and it did take a lot of patience with me as I learned.
Helen's making a cameo. And in these decks as they come, kind of like a standard deck of playing cards, it's kind of sorted. And so shuffling this isn't going to do a terribly good job. So what a lot of players do is they just kind of deal their cards out. I'm going to deal mine into a set of 5 piles. That'll kind of give the cards an initial distribution, and then we'll shuffle from there. I know this is going to pain you, Melanie. These are exactly 60 card decks. Not 90, not 120.
See, I have no choice, so maybe I'll win a game for a change. The land is kind of like your currency in this game, and there are 5 different colors of land, which kind of benefit 5 different colors of types of cards, which all do sort of different things. But what is
specialties?
They have different specialties, right? So for a 60 card deck, I don't do math. I have to leave that up to
24.
So about 24 land, and the rest specialty cards, whether it's creatures or different magic, which is sorceries or instants.
There's all kinds of different cards. That's what makes the game so interesting, is that there's just such a variety, and the cards that you get, of course, are randomized, and so it's going to be not quite the same game every time. And we'll kind of explain some of the basic mechanics as we go.
We both have different shuffling styles.
That's because I can't shuffle that way. I never learned. I had a poor upbringing. That was too fancy for us. So let's start with some basic mechanics. There are 6 basic colors in Magic, colors of cards. There's red, white, blue, green, and black. And there's a 6th type of card called artifacts, which are actually considered colorless. They have no color. I'm all shuffled, Manny. We'll explain a lot of mechanics as we go.
I'm all shuffled, and wow, look, our decks are the same size.
This never happens, ever.
I'm forced into it.
Ever.
So this is going to be a very slow game for me because I have no idea what my cards have and what they do.
And your initial draw is 7 cards. As a really general rule, you don't even want to consider playing a hand if you don't have a minimum of 2 lands. 3 would be better, but at least 2.
Right. If you are land poor or mana poor, then the chances of being able to play your cards that require mana to be able to cast them onto the table are very slim. And then you are playing very slowly and your opponent will have an advantage. So this is the way that we hold our cards, unlike if you're playing gin rummy or another type of card game that has them fanned out. This is the way that the Magic cards work best, is if you have them kind of stacked like this, because then you can see their mana costs, what color they are, what their name is, and which ones are land, and you can then play them very quickly and kind of know what your inventory of your hand is very quickly.
Hey, Melanie, would you like to go first?
I would.
I'm shocked.
I always go first.
Melanie always goes first. And since she goes first, she's at a slight disadvantage in that she's not allowed to draw a card right away. Normally you draw at the beginning of your turn unless you go first.
But I'm at an advantage if I can play something early and I get land out faster. So the first thing I'm going to do is to play an island. So the blue are considered island, and we each have 2 colored decks. That's what came pre-made.
You're playing blue-white.
I'm playing blue-white.
And I'm playing red-green.
Every turn, you have the opportunity to play 1 land. You can't play more than 1 land at a time. There are some cards that are land generators, and you can play those, but if they say land, you can only play 1 at a turn. And I'm not able to cast anything with just 1 mana, so it's turn over to Kent.
So I draw, and I will play a special land, Timber Gorge. And since it's a special land, because it doesn't generate just 1 type of mana, like Melanie's Island, it can generate one of 2 types of mana, mountain or forest. So when it comes into the battlefield, the card text indicates it comes in tapped, which means I cannot use it this turn. Okay. And I pass the turn to you.
All right. And I draw. This is the order in which you play. You draw first when it's your turn, and then you can play a land, which of course I'm going to do. I'm now playing a white land, which is considered a plains. Does not look like I'm going to be playing anything, so I am turning over the...
So now at the beginning of my turn, anything that I have tapped, and we'll kind of go into some more details on what tapping means in a minute, but anything that's tapped becomes untapped, which means you can use it this turn. I draw a card, play a land. Let's keep these down here by me. And I will pass the turn to Melanie.
I will play another island. So now I have 3 mana out. And I still am unable to play anything. So I pass the turn to Kent.
Nothing to untap, so I just draw. I will now play forest. And I will tap, so you turn sideways to indicate you are using that land, in this case, to generate its mana. I will generate a red, and then I tap both of these for my Pyromantic Pilgrim. That costs 1 mountain and 2 others. It's a 3/1 creature with haste. You want to explain what haste means, Melanie?
So haste, when a card says haste on a creature, that creature can immediately attack the opponent. If it doesn't say haste, the creature is considered summoning sick when it first comes out.
Because I've summoned it with my magical fingers.
Exactly. And it comes out onto the field, onto the battlefield, but it's not able to attack until next turn. But this card has haste, and it has a power of
3
and a toughness of
1.
So that means that he can hit me for 3 points damage. I have no creatures out to defend myself, which means the damage comes directly to me as a player.
So I will declare it as an attacker. When you attack, unless your card has a special property, which Melanie might have, I probably don't have any cards with this property, you tap it to indicate I'm using it this turn for an action. That action is to attack.
Is to attack me. So we have these little counter dices. You can keep score any way you would like. We start out with 20 points, and we start counting down as we have damage dealt to us. So he just dealt 3 damage to me, and 20 minus 3 is 17. I can do simple math. All right, so I just played my 4th land, which allows me finally to cast a creature. So I'm going to tap my 4 land, which costs 4 colorless, which means I could tap any color land I have to make that 4 cost. And this is a Joyra's Familiar. It's an artifact creature, and it has flying. Now, the special aspect of creatures that fly is that they cannot be blocked by other creatures unless that creature has flying also, or has what is considered reach, which is to be able to reach up and get a flyer. So I have a flyer, which gives me an advantage against his creature who does not have flying. So I'm going to play this. It's a 2/2. And the other special ability on this card is that historic spells that I cast cost 1 less to cast. Casting means to take them out of your hand and put them on the battlefield. Historic cards are any artifacts, such as the card that I am casting right now, any legendaries, which are cards that say legendary, and any sagas, which are specialty cards which have multiple steps, and they say sagas. So I'm casting this.
And it's summoning 6, so
I can't attack. Right, I can't attack Kent with this card this turn because he's summoning 6. He does not have haste. And my land is tapped, so I cannot cast anything else even if I had it. And it's Kent's turn.
So I will untap everything, draw a card, play another mountain. I will tap all 4 of those for my Kaplusan Hound, who requires 1 mountain and 3 colorless. This is a 3/3 creature, and whenever it attacks, if I have my Planeswalker out, it deals 2 damage to any target. That means any of her creatures, or I could target Melanie as well. He is summoning 6. He just came in, so he cannot attack. Flyers can block non-flyers. The other way around can't happen, but flyers can block non-flyers. They just swoop down and block them. But her creatures is a 2/2, and mine's a 3/1. So if that were to happen, these cards would kill each other. My 3 would overcome her 2. Her 2 overcomes my 1 defense.
Right. And these numbers are reflected, as you will see on the screen, by a number and a slash and another number. The first number is always your power, how much you can hit other creatures or players for. And then the second number is what your defense is, which is how tough you are to be able to endure attacks.
And so I will end my turn and choose not to attack.
Okay. So I untap my land, I draw, and I'm getting a lot of land, which is not usually a problem, but I would like to get more creatures out. So I'm going to play another land, which you can do every turn if you have it. I am going to attack with my flyer because I know he does not have a flyer. And so that's dealing 2 damage to him.
So I go down to 18.
He's at 18. I'm still at 17. And I'm done with my turn. So it is now his turn.
Untap, draw, play a land. And I'm going to tap 1 mountain and 2 of anything else to play another Pyromantic Pilgrim with haste, and everyone will then attack for 9.
So in response to his attack on me, I can play a type of magic, even when it's not my turn, called an instant. Instants or flash cards allow you to play them even when it isn't your turn, if you have the mana to cast them. So the first thing I'm going to do is, what is his power?
3.
And he's a 3, and he...
Power or defense.
Okay.
They're all 3 offense.
All 3 offense.
3 defense, 1/1 defense.
Okay. So...
Technically, I should be saying toughness. It's the defense. The second number is considered toughness.
So the thing I'm going to do here is cast a plains and an island, which is, it requires a plains and then 1 of any color. And I'm going to play my instant that is called Gideons Reproach, and it deals 4 damage to a target attacking or blocking creature. So...
And now you must select a target.
I'm going to deal that 4 damage to the card that has the special ability that has not been used yet.
Notice, however, I left 2 mana available because I also have an instant. So this is called a spell stack. Melanie's casting this instant spell. I can then respond by tapping 1 green and 1 anything else to put my Gift of Growth onto the spell stack, targeting the same card. This gives me +2 offense and +2 defense. Now Melanie has the choice to respond to my instant.
So right now, you have to do simple math when you're playing Magic, because what that means now is that he had a toughness of 3, but I did 4 damage to him. So he had a deficit of 1. He has to at least come up with 2 more defense, 2 more toughness points
to survive
this battle. And he did with this. So he got a +2 for toughness. But
none of this has happened yet. Melanie now has the chance to add another instant to this spell stack.
And I'm concerned because he's adding 2 more points of damage to me with this spell that he just cast. So if I don't win this battle, or if I don't mitigate or lessen the battle's effect on me, then I'm not only going to be hit with the 9 that he was throwing at me, but 2 more in addition to that, which is really devastating, because that's 11 points out of the 17 I have. But I am going to mitigate the damage. So it's 1 island, the cost, +2 of any other color to play my Befuddle, which is another instant.
Okay.
It targets the creature. The target creature gets -4 power, -0, so I can't kill him until the end of turn, and I get to draw a card. So I'm going to put that on the stack. I don't kill his card, but I don't get dealt any damage.
So his power becomes 3 -4, because whatever's on top of the spell stack happens first. And then I add +2/+2, so now it's +1 more offense. So it's got 1 point of offense. And then you deal 4 damage to it, but it's already got 5 toughness, so it doesn't die.
But he is doing 1 damage to me.
1 damage to you.
Okay.
And then when you've used a card, it goes into your graveyard.
Right. And the other 6 points also come through, so I have to take 7 points of damage. That really hurt. So I'm down to 10.
And I pass the turn to you.
And it is my turn. All of that was done on Kent's turn. So I draw. But I realized that one of these cards that I played as an instant actually allowed me to draw an extra card, which I failed to do. And
that's okay, Melanie.
If we were playing in a Magic the Gathering tournament, or playing with people who aren't as forgiving as my husband, my loving husband, I would not, if I had forgotten to draw, I would be out of luck. And so that's one of my weaknesses, is that there's a lot to keep in mind. Like all of the card text, you have to remember what's out there. You have to remember what's in your hand and all the different things that these creatures and Magic can do. And there are lots of different things that it can do. So he's letting me go ahead and draw my card that I failed to draw on his turn. And then I draw another card because it's my turn now. So I'm going to draw. And I have choices. Oh. All right. Well, I only have 10 life left. And that's
half. Is your dice half empty or half full, Melanie? Your dice is half full.
He has 9 points of damage that will be coming to me next turn. I know this already. So if I don't have something out to stop him from doing that, I am dead very soon. So I've got to figure out, of these two, since I only have, I have not played a land yet. There's a land. Mm-hmm. That makes all the difference. Okay, so, or at least a little difference. So I can play 3 of any color, and I have to look at the 2 cards that I want to cast to make sure I leave the right colors as I do this to pay for both of them. So I'm doing 3 of any color because I'm casting another artifact, which is a colorless creature. And this one has flying, and it cannot block. So that's not going to help me to defend against his points coming. But it is a flyer, so I can get some damage dealt to him. And then the second card that I'm going to cast is, it costs an island, a plains, and 1 of any color. And that is my legendary creature, Human Cleric. When she comes out, Faithful Healer enters the battlefield. I can search my library and or graveyard for a card named Teferi, which is my planeswalker. Mm-hmm. Teferi Timebender. Timebender. And this is why when Kent plays with me, it's much more entertaining than just playing
From now on,
Magic.
it's going to be Timebender.
Oh.
You should write a letter to the company, Melanie.
He does the editing, so that will not be edited out. I know that. Anyway, so I reveal it. I put it into my hand, and then I shuffle my library. Whoa. This is called my library.
Whoa.
So I'm going to search my hand.
Library.
My library. The deck that I have is called a library because it has all of the different...
It's a library of spells.
That's right. So Teferi Timebender. Timbaender.
Timebender.
I will never live that down.
No, never.
Oh my gosh.
Everything lives forever on YouTube, Melanie.
That's right. Oh, he was going to be the very next card that I drew. That is funny. That is really funny. So I reveal it.
Uh-huh. What does it cost to cast that guy? 6, which you have.
I have 6, but it's all tapped out right now, so I can't cast it this turn. And then I have to shuffle my library because I just went through it. And here comes our cat, just so she can make an appearance on camera.
She may jump on the table. Hey, look. Are you going to play, Helen?
Say hi to our YouTube audience. Say hello.
Are you going to play? Are you going to play?
It's not interesting enough for her. All right, would you like to cut?
No. I volunteer not to.
This is like harassment. And, okay, the only way that I can get any points against him is if I were to attack right now while he's all tapped out. He cannot defend. He can't use his creatures as defense. But the problem is he can't block. I only have a 2/2 and another 2/2 to block. And he's going to be hitting me for a lot of points next turn. He would take me down to 1. And if he has other magic that could bump that up, then I'm dead. So I almost can't attack. I'm too weak to be able to attack. I have to wait and defend.
So I will untap.
What are your points? What do you have?
18. I will draw.
I just hit him that one time.
I'm going to tap 1 red.
Which is a mountain.
And 2 of anything.
He's tapping forests.
For my Fight with Fire sorcery. Deals 5 points of damage to a target of my choosing. I will kill the flyer.
I knew that was coming because flyers can't be blocked unless it's by other flyers.
And then I will tap 1 mountain and deal 2 points of damage to that creature.
Oh boy. And so now
And then we will proverbial swing with the team.
So that takes me down to 1 because that's 9 points coming at me. I had 10. I'm down to 1 point.
And I pass the turn to you.
My hand was just a little too slow. And I
It'll
don't...
depend on what you draw. Because remember, your Planeswalker, you can redirect damage. I'm trying to remember. Yes, if I attack you, you can choose to redirect that damage to your Planeswalker instead.
I'm playing a land. And... boy. Well, that's true. So if I bring my Planeswalker out, it's considered another player.
Kind of.
Kind of. So if he's dealing damage to me and not to my creatures, I can choose to direct that damage to my Planeswalker.
Which could kill it, but it's
could.
better than killing you.
Boy, I need just a little bit more land than I have to be able to survive this. Okay, so for 1 island, 1 plains, and 4 of anything else, so I will bring out my Teferi Timber Ender. Timabender. Oh boy. And so you want to explain that card? I always have trouble with the Planeswalkers.
Well, Planeswalkers, like Melanie said, are kind of like players. So you summon them, they can fight for you. They've got a number of different abilities. This one starts with 5 loyalty counters, so you should have a die. Put a 5 on there. So the various 3 abilities that Planeswalker has, you can spend loyalty points to activate those abilities. Some abilities actually increase that counter, that loyalty counter. If I choose to attack my creatures to Melanie, like I've been doing, she can elect to direct all or part of that damage to her Planeswalker, which subtracts from its loyalty count. If it
which
gets
are
to
kind of
0,
like
it's
lives.
dead.
It's kind of like
It's
life.
kind of like 5 extra lives for you. That's the first one.
Plus 2, which means I would get 2 loyalty. If I wanted to use this to untap up to 1 target artifact or creature, and I have nothing tapped, so I wouldn't use that, but I could still, it says up to, so I could just gain loyalty. I can spend 3 loyalty of my 5, and I gain 2 life, and I get to draw 2 cards. Now that's really kind of exciting, except I only have 1 mana, so if I draw 2 cards, it depends on what I draw, whether or not I can afford to cast it this turn. Or
then the big one.
The big one, which I don't have enough loyalty for, is -9, and I only have 5. But that allows me to take an extra turn after this one. So I get like 2 turns in a row.
I skip a turn, basically.
That's what it would be like.
That could be crazy.
But I don't think that I'm ever going to experience that ability because I'm going to be dead before I get to do that. I'm just so happy that I got to play my Planeswalker.
Unlike creatures, Planeswalkers aren't considered summoning 6, so you can activate any of those abilities this turn.
I really don't think I can survive his next turn, but the only thing I can do is pay the... I mean, I could elect to keep this, but still, I wouldn't survive because he has 9 points coming at me at the very least.
But remember, the first ability gives you 2 extra loyalty points, which are just like lives for you.
But that's only that in addition to my 1 is only 8 because that would be 7, 8. He cannot block.
And I'm coming with 9.
He's coming with 9, so I would die. So I'm going to try my luck. It's kind of a Hail Mary. and use 3 of my 5 loyalty points to bring it down to 2 loyalty points. And I get 2 life, which brings me up to 3. And then I get to draw 2 cards and hope that
one of them costs only 1.
Only 1 mana to save me.
You have played a land this turn. You're up to 7 land.
Right. And that is not what happened. So I am going to die.
So we take the perfunctory last turn. Untap. Draw. Doesn't really matter if I play anything. So we're going to swing with the team.
I could only take 4 damage without dying, and he's swinging for 9. So that's it for this round.
Mm-hmm. Good game. I mean, I was nervous when that time bender came out. Just like, oh.
So if you like to watch middle-aged people play Magic the Gathering and mispronounce the name of cards, subscribe, hit the bell so that you get notifications when we post our next booster card challenge.
That'll be probably maybe next week. We'll see.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
See you next time.